All right, hey guys. Okay, this is exciting. I just got off kind of our pre-meeting with Jessie and just giving me a little sneak peek of what she's talking about. And you guys are about to get some incredible information. So as we wait for some of you guys to join on, I just want to say happy Monday, happy 2017. I know that the goals that you might have for your life, I guess like aspirations, the feel goods of this is going to be my year, and bump 2016, goodbye that last year, and hello 2017. The reason I asked Jessie to share about perception or share about mindset is because I know how powerful that is, and I know personally how many obstacles I've had to overcome myself, overcoming fears, doubts, anxiety, life happenings. And you really can't have 2017 be your year unless you do specific things to create that momentum. So Jessie's going to talk about that in just a moment. But I just wanted to say that she is one of the brightest people I've ever known. Jessie, I guess it's been like, did we meet each other in 2011? I don't know. It's been a hot second.
It has been a little while.
Yeah, and it's been wonderful. But she is so fun, so gorgeous, wonderful mother. Her work ethic is superb. I mean, when you meet her in person, she's one of those people like, I just want to hug her. Like that. She makes me feel good. There's some kind of aura, some positive energy about Jessie. And so this is absolutely perfect because not only is she just a wonderful human being, but she's also a very successful coach on our team. She is a founder of Legacy of Legends, a Diamond team who's going to go way, way, way farther than Diamond this year because of the momentum and excitement and positivity that she duplicates down to her organization. So I'm honored to have Jessie as our speaker tonight on our Moxie Monday, and I hope that you guys get some notes and leave this call feeling like you can really take control of your life this year. So Jessie, I'll give it to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Laura, for having me. It's an honor to be invited to speak here. And, she kind of hinted on a little bit, I've gone through a lot of things in life. And so it's here to hear. So it's so exciting to hear really good, positive things said about me. Because to be very honest, guys, I haven't had a lot of good things come my way in my life. And it's not really because of any reason, just my own. So I'm going to give you a really short and simple backstory on my life. It's going to be like Cliff Notes of Jessie's life. So, very flattering introduction. So thank you so much. And I just want to say that everything that Laura just said is true. I'm excited about Legacy of Legends and where we're going and the momentum that we have. But, pretty much the majority of my life, guys, I've been very much a flake. It sounds terrible, but I have been. I dropped out of high school on my 16th birthday. And within 6 months of dropping out of high school, I was pregnant. And I spent most of my life very welfare dependent. I struggled with alcohol and substance abuse, sexual immorality, just massive internal religious debacles with who I wanted to be and where I wanted to go in my faith and spirituality, and just I was a mess, y'all. My father was an alcoholic, and I lost my mom when I was 18 years old and had a 1-year-old to domestic violence. So, I mean, guys, the list is long. And so after hearing such a positive introduction and then seeing where I come from, it can really change your perspective of things. Like maybe you came into this call thinking you might know me or know where I come from, or, oh, she's just that kind of Beachbody coach, and I'm just going to go and get filled up, get my cup filled up. But I'm going to tell you guys that I have truly been through the trenches of this life and through the worst of the worst. Some of it self-inflicted, some of it just, those were the cards that were dealt to me. And I kind of just had to make a personal choice to move beyond that. And I'm going to give out my big secret tip, right away. And this is what we're going to work through this call, is that the reason why I can talk about my past and things that I've gone through so easily is because my vision for my future, my perception of my future is so crystal clear that my past is just that, guys. It's the past. And so that is what we're going to kind of look at and discuss throughout this call. And, maybe 2016 for me personally was an amazing year. I know for a lot of people, it was not. A lot of people went through roller coasters up and down and just had hardships come their way and dealt with situations in life and media, and just there was a lot of things going on right in 2016. So that either played in your favor or didn't. But I can tell you right now, regardless, it's in the past. So we're starting here. We are starting now. It is January 16th. We are just a little bit over 2 weeks into 2017, and we're just going to blast through this momentum. And it's going to start with a really, really clear vision on what we have and where we want to go. So let's see here. I really wanted to talk about that with my past, and with Laura saying something positive and then me coming in and talking about my past, because this is how it is on digital age media, social media and stuff. It's so easy to put the good out there and hide the bad, and what that really does is it really warps our perception. So there's no really clear, you might think that somebody and you don't know anything about them. You may not know what they're going through unless you really talk to them and meet them in person behind the scenes. And so everywhere all around us, our perceptions are just out of nowhere, right? We look at the media, we look outside at our children and everything, overexposure to some things and no exposure to other things. And it's we don't get a choice of what comes into our vision. So we only know what we know, right? It's like a naive motion there. So, all right, let's see what I've got here. I'm going to look my notes real quick. I do want to say welcome. I hope everybody grabbed a pen and paper. That was part of your assessment earlier. So let's get started on these plans. So really what I want you to do, number one first, I would really like you to just take a moment and write down 3 goals that you have for this year. They can be anything that you want them to be. They could be health related, they could be financial related, they could be family related. So I want everybody just to jot down 3 goals that really stick out in your brain. And if anybody is courageous and would like to post that or comment that, that would be extremely helpful. And we're just going to kind of unload those a little bit. So Laura's going to read those to me in a few minutes. But before we actually get into that process of breaking stuff down, I really want to talk about how things will derail us. So one of my favorite mentors that I listen to a lot, he often will say that anytime you come up with a goal and a plan and you really begin to prepare for it, your world just falls apart, right? You get the flu, or your kid falls at the playground and breaks their arm. Just the more focused you seem to be on something, the more it seems like your world falls apart. Can anybody relate to that at all? I don't know. It seems like that for me. That the more I want something, the more the world just tries to beat it up and take it away from me. So when this is happening to you, it can really derail us from the things that we really want the most. So just an example, I have a new person in my life that recently joined my team with Beachbody and is on a really serious health mission, right? He's focused, he's in control, he knows what he wants. And not even a week into his journey, he lost his dog of 13 years. That's a really long time. And, he's had that dog since he was 9 years old. It is a part of him. It's like his brother, he said. And, and we talked about it a few days later. I gave him kind of 2 days to handle that and deal with that. And then we talked about it, and he's like, yeah, but I've invested this money. I've invested this time. I've invested this. And I said that this is what I want. And I did lose my dog. And that was really, really, really hard. But I'm not going to let that sidetrack me from what comes after that. So that's what happens in our lives, is that stuff just is going to fly at you. And I talked to him about that as well. It's just like life never stops happening. Your kids are going to get sick. You might get laid off from a job. Your spouse might get laid off from a job. You could, get your lights turned off. Guys, I've had my lights turned off in my life where I just couldn't pay my electricity and my lights got turned off, and I have to go beg and pay for assistance and things like that. I've been through that type of struggle in my life, and you can't allow those type of things to throw you off. You've got to have a vision so crystal clear that nothing in this world can sway you. So what are some of those things that could come at you? You know, obviously those sickness and loss and things, but there's even more things out there that can throw you off of what you want more than anything. And sometimes you don't even realize them. So I have a couple different examples here. You know, one is like keeping up with the Joneses, right? If you're constantly in competition with what's the latest, what's the greatest, what everybody else has, what she's got, oh, that hair, and oh, these clothes, or oh, this phone, or whatever it is, you know, those are type of things that can derail you. Maybe you have a goal to pay off $10,000 in debt this year. That's really exciting. That's going to take a lot of focus. And let me tell you something, you want to pay off $10,000 in debt, keeping up with Joneses is expensive, you know, and that can throw you off. And you may not even see it at that time or understand it at that time or even realize it, but it's a distraction. I don't know if anybody invested as much time as I did last year in media, but I was highly sucked into it with the political race and just everything that was going on personally. I was heavily involved in all of that. And there were good days and there were bad days. And there were days that I felt knowledgeable. And then there were days I was confused, and it just was clouding everything about me. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be knowledgeable about what's going on in the world, but if you've ever heard that phrase, like, no news is good news. And I kind of hate that, because what it's kind of saying is like, good news is boring. You know, what sex sells, and sorry if there's children around, I'm sorry. You know, the bad is always going to take precedent over the good. And it's the same in our minds, guys. The negative will always take precedent of the good in your mind. So you have to heavily outweigh those negative influences in your life. There's another book that I recently just finished. It's called The Compound Effect. And he really he takes a whole chapter to discuss about how media influences us. And if you're a person that wakes up and watches the news, I get up, I check the weather on my phone. Actually, I don't even watch the news anymore. But if you watch the news and then you drive to work just with that mentality, like, man, I can't believe what happened last night. And then you sit down and you start listening to different things or reading articles on your Facebook or whatever pops up into your feed, and it's just negative, 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 negative. And then every once in a while something nice is in there, but it just consumes you. It consumes your thoughts. It puts you in fear. It puts you in a state of anxiety. It makes you feel out of control. And it's just, those are the type of things that are going to cloud your vision. So you have to control the amount of influence that you have in your life, especially the amount of negative influence. And when it comes to media, unfortunately, good news is boring news. So it just stinks, but that's the way that it is. So another big influence, and I love that I take stuff from commercials after I just talked about media. Don't mind me, I do that. But FOBO, has anybody seen the commercial where they're out buying appliances, and then he's just like, the kid in the back, she's like, Dad, you got FOBO, which is fear of a better offer. If you're on the opposite side of keeping up with the Joneses and you never take that leap and you never take the jump and you never proceed forward because you're always afraid, you're just afraid, like, man, things could change. I actually need this and I could do this, but you know, in 6 months, something else is going to happen and then I'd have to change. So I just think I'll stay here because it's really cozy and it's comfortable and it's not scary or intimidating. So I'm just going to step off of that. Like fear of a better offer, right? It's constantly out there. So you have to be aware of that. Are you guarding yourself because it's the smart thing to do? Are you guarding yourself because you're actually afraid to proceed forward? So take notice of those things. We have drama influence. I've never dealt with this personally. I'm like a drama-free zone. When I see any type of mishap, I mean, unless it's like an injustice, then I'll step in, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, but unfortunately. But when I see any type of situation, gossip and things like that, guys, I walk away. And I wasn't always like that. It was something that I had to evolve and teach myself. But I came to understand that offers nothing to me whatsoever. I talked with a coworker at work and they were talking with somebody else or about someone else who wasn't there. And I was like, I'll respect you and listen to you. I'm just not going to participate in this conversation. And they were like, oh, that's cool, whatever. You know, they weren't offended. They didn't take it wrong. They were just like, that's cool that you're like that, because that assures them that I would never slander them behind their back either. So it's just drama. Just stay away from drama. It's that same negative influence. Now, probably one of my most favorites is time. Who's ever heard that phrase, right? You've got the same 24 hours in a day as Beyonce, right? It's true. We have the same amount of time and we have the same amount of energy that we can put into our day. It's just where we prioritize our time. And that comes along with that perception and that vision. So when you have all of these things, right, all of these negative things coming at you, you know, so how do you fix your perception? Where does it go? Like, now your awareness is the most important part. Your perception of your awareness and your surroundings is what makes the difference between you being successful in the things that you want and being unsuccessful in the things that you want. My dad used to teach me when I was learning to drive to always look 4 cars in front of me, not the one directly in front of me. Not that I don't need to see that. That's in my peripherals, but I need to be looking ahead, because if something's happening 4 cars ahead that comes back to me, like, that's a big problem. But if I can see what's happening there, then maybe I'll be able to make a choice on where to go. So being incredibly aware of your surroundings makes a lasting difference on your goals and your vision. So let's see where I'm at here. All right, I do have one more example about that, because I think this was really cool. A few weeks ago in church, our pastor, I live in Louisville, Kentucky. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Louisville, but Churchill Downs here, and that's where we have the Derby every year. And he was talking about horse jockeys. And, you know, a lot of times it's in the spring, it's muddy, and these horses, they're running on these tracks, and it just kicks up mud everywhere. And jockeys, if you look at them, sometimes they're wearing 4, 5, 6 goggles around their neck. And the reason is they have to keep a clear vision of where they're at. So when their goggles are here and they're right behind that horse is just kicking up mud, they don't have time to sit up and clean their goggles off. No, they're just like, you got to go. I need these. And then when those get muddy, you got to go. I need these. And that's how they work, and that's how they train, and that's how they keep going. They don't slow down, they press in, but you can't see where you're going if your goggles are mucky. You have to have that vision. So we're going to look at a couple of those goals. Laura, was anybody able to post a couple goals that they have? Can you hear me? Let's see. Can anybody hear me? Have I been talking to myself? Let's see. How do I pick one big way this year? Bear with me, guys. There's like a little bit of a lag, and I'm just trying to see what's going on here. So I'm new to this. My poor husband has my child. All right, great. I'm just going to keep going. So I'm going to give an example, you know, of just some goals and how we're going to do this and how we're going to work. Oh, my baby is freaking out. Sorry, guys, for having a meltdown. I'm going to go out of that. Okay. Sorry. Dun, dun, dun. I hope you guys just bear with me. I'm getting back to where we are. Okay, I'm back. So I'm just want to look at a couple, any type of goals, couple goals. So the idea with getting this clear vision and how we're going to create this vision for our lives is that we're going to take whatever it is that you want and break it down into 12-week periods. So just for an example, say you want to lose 100 pounds this year. So I want to lose 100 pounds. This is my goal, and this is what I'm going to do. So instead of looking at it as like, wow, I'm going to lose 100 pounds this year, we're going to look at it quarterly. There's 4 quarters in a year. They're 12 weeks each. So to lose 100 pounds, we got to lose 25 pounds a quarter. And then we look at that, it's like 2.2 pounds, right, a week. 2.2 pounds a week isn't scary. That's not overwhelming. That's not, aggressive. Losing 100 pounds in a year is phenomenal. That's amazing. That's mind-blowing. Losing 2 pounds a week is like, oh, yay. I didn't eat ice cream 2 nights this week and I lost 100 pounds this year. but that's how it works, right? That's what the power of that compound effect is, what I was talking about earlier, is it's the teeny tiny little things that you do daily that get you to the end. But the important thing is knowing what you want at the end and being able to visualize it and being able to see it so that you're able to do that. Maybe someone has a goal to pay off $10,000 in debt. I know I would love to pay off $10,000 in debt this year. So that's definitely a goal for me. But when you look at that quarterly, we're looking at $2,500 in 12 weeks, and then we break it down from there, $250, a week or whatever it is. I'm not good with math right now, so I hope you guys can be understanding of that. But when you start looking at things in smaller bite-sized pieces, you're able to take them on, you're able to achieve them, you're able to attack them. And that's how you overcome all of those influences. Now that you're aware of all these influences that are continuously coming at you, and you're able to see your vision in front of you and all this stuff like this is coming at you, well, now you're going to have a little goal here, just a little bit closer. So the influencers are less. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but it makes sense to me. I hope that it makes sense to you. So really, I keep saying we're going to visualize it. We're going to visualize it. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. I was hoping to play some music. I don't think that it will work for me here.
Jesse, can you hear me? I can't hear you. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Oh man. Jesse, you seriously were blowing my mind. You're blowing my mind, and then I lost audio. I heard your click. Jesse, can you hear me? I can't hear you. No, not yet. You can hear me. Not yet. But I'm excited. I'm excited to hear the rest of you. I think what happened when something happened with your earphones. But I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, yes, let's do this exercise together. I still can't hear you. Let's see. Thank you guys so much for your patience, for your diligence anyways. How about this? While she's figuring her audio, you guys get serious about these goals. She was talking about 12-week goals. She was talking about the passion, breaking it down, making sure that it's measurable. But she was bringing up the why in all of this. Jesse, you want to test it out one more time? I even saw, man, her heart was like pouring out in the silent mode. And I'm like, I want to bottle that up. I want to bottle it up and experience it. I do. All right. I cannot hear you, Jesse, but if you want to message me on Facebook to tell me our next steps, I will do that. Sometimes stuff like this happens, and it's like the twilight zone tonight. I've had 2 back-to-back calls, both of which have had technical errors. Sometimes it happens so often that I think it's a user error, because I think, why would every single time? But maybe that's exactly what Jesse was saying. Like, you're going to be dealt some stuff that you have to roll with. So you guys, 2017 is really going to be stellar. Her analogy about the jockey made so much sense. Like, goggles on, mud on your face, goggles on, next pair of glasses, like figuring life out as it comes instead of just letting your eyes be full of mud and fog for the rest of your life. I was leading a call just before this talking about, like, do you want to be the same person right now in 5 years? Like, do you want to be in the same place, same job, same financial situation in 5 years? Now, if you have it all together, I love that and I want to hang out with you. But if you're like the majority of America or human beings, then there's probably a percentage of you that wants to become better, that wants to become healthier, that wants to have newness and excitement and adventure and level up, if you can accept that term. Level up to your biggest potential. So Jesse, I don't know if your sound is working. It got wacky. My sound and audio got wacky at the beginning. Now your sound is wacky. So here is what we'll do. You guys, hopefully you were active in our Moxie Monday, like the actual event page on Facebook. So Jesse, how about after this, to wrap it up, you can go live in that event page to kind of give everyone a call to action, an activity that they can do to really seal the deal and making sure that their perception and their preparation for 2017 is going to guarantee that they set a game plan for how to be their best, how to set it up, and how to really launch to the next year. Because your story, your life, your entire vision for your life, girl, I got it. I can smell the roses on the house that you're going to have with your family and the home that you're going to have for battered women and children. Like, I can see it. I can feel it. I know exactly what you've painted because we've talked about it. And that's how clearly she has her future defined. And that's how clearly I want your future defined. That you can truly do anything in your life, but it starts in between your ears. It starts right here, making sure that you have a plan and you execute it well, believing that you can really live up to your biggest potential. So without further ado, I'll post in the chat box the actual event page on Facebook, so you guys can click over to that link and listen to Jessie close us out. Okay? Bye, guys.